I do. I work at but it's not really work; it's more like volunteer work than anything. But I do. I work on the side for one of my. He's the store owner that works at the gas station by where I live. It's literally like 10 feet away from my house, and I help him out with doing stock and cleaning up and stuff like that. And he throws me $50, and so I do that. So, but that keeps me moving because I stock beer and I have food boxes, and so that keeps me moving. And I'm also a performer, so I dance a lot of rehearsals. So I do that's my exercise.
Yeah, okay.
But like I said, I have a very active lifestyle, so I stay very busy. So I'm always on the go. So yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about your pelvic floor. Talk about some ways we can decrease leakage.
Okay.
There's a lot of things education-wise, which we can start just.
Which I actually want to know about because when sometimes I explain to my friends about the pelvic floor theory, they're like, "What the heck is that?" I'm like, "I don't know what it was either." I'm like, "I'm just learning." I'm like, a lot of stuff I'm just learning now because of this condition. But because from what Dr. AJ explained to me is that it's the organs are kind of closer to the floor than it should be, and that and with the therapy that it helps it strengthen it, and that it's not so I guess I don't know if it's removes the placement of where the organs are as opposed to the pelvic floor, or if it just strengthens it so it's not so tense. So I'm not 100%, but I'm getting a little of it.
Yeah, I'll definitely explain that. Are you familiar with what your pelvic floor looks like and all of that?
No, and I'd like to see.
Yeah. I'm gonna go grab a model.
Okay, yeah, great.
And then I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, guys, I'm hoping that you're sitting here listening to all this. This is all about my condition, so this is something I want you guys to see and hear. So there's a lot more. She's bringing the model in, so let's watch when she comes in.
Okay. So, this is your pelvic floor.
Okay.
And it acts as kind of like a hammock. It's a group of muscles that sits at the base of your pelvis. And it helps support your bladder. So here I have a cross section of a bladder. And you have your sphincter, which is what cuts off the urethra.
Okay, so see, this is
urination.
This is where the problem is.
Yes.
That's where they say a lot of the problem is with sphincter is, and they were thinking about. But now I see where it is. That if they do remove it, there will be leakage. There'll be a lot of leakage.
Yeah, so all of these muscles, these more superficial muscles here can contribute to continence. The sphincter is really just a round muscle that really can contribute. And then all of this hammock really supports your bladder and creates structure, helps provide support so that you don't have leakage.
Would you mind if I just showed them this? Because I'm trying just so that they see. See, guys? All right, thank you.
Yeah, of course. So with that said, your pelvic floor also works with a lot of other muscles to help maintain continence. So you have your pelvic floor at the base, and it kind of creates this canister. You have your diaphragm up here at the top.
All right.
Your transverse abdominis, which is your deepest abdominal muscle, kind of comes around like a belly brace. And then some back rotators. So that canister all functions together, really supports all of your internal organs. However, they all work together. So when you take a deep breath in, your diaphragm comes down, allows room for your lungs to expand. The pelvic floor also comes down and goes on stretch. And then as you exhale, the pelvic or diaphragm comes up and pelvic floor comes up. So it's kind of working like
together.
This. All day long.
I see.
Now we can use breath a lot to help with some continence issues. And also, we have to remember that the pelvic floor is a muscle. So a lot of times, there's two things that can contribute to continence. Either your pelvic floor can be really tight.
Which is what they said mine is.
And
they said it's very tight.
Especially with the constipation issues. And just the type of leakage you're having. You're not really having leakage with coughing or sneezing.
Yeah, there's none of that.
Things.
No. Well, so if I did something too heavy,
Yeah, okay. So that could be potentially a little weakness there. But we want to be able to move that muscle through its full range of motion.
Okay. All right.
So if you think of your bicep, because that's a really easy muscle to think of, if your bicep is really tight, meaning that this muscle is really shortened here,
Okay.
it's going to be contracted.
All right.
You can't lift much here. There's not much lever arm to do much with that muscle.
Okay.
So every time, even though it's tight and contracted, you're not getting much of a contraction there when you need to recruit those muscles.
Let me ask you a question. So as far as the pelvic floor is concerned, when you said that it's really tight, does that have anything to do with the up and down that it's doing, or does it does?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and we'll talk about that too. I'll draw a picture and.
Okay, yeah, all right, yeah, because I'm really trying to understand, like, because when the pelvic floor physical therapy was brought up, it was brought up to me as if this is like the key, like this is what we need to be doing to fix this problem. Because whatever the problem is, I'm trying to get it done and over with.
Yes.
I've been dealing with this now over 2 years, with this whole suffering.
Right.
So I'm trying to just figure the whole thing, but it's all making sense. So that's good.
Yes. So. If we can stretch out the pelvic floor, lengthen it, make it not as tight, then you can get more of a contraction.
Okay.
So
that's the thing. So I'm not getting that much of a contraction because it's too tight.
Potentially, yes. And I haven't done
a
full exam yet to know exactly.
Okay.
Just symptom based, it sounds like you have quite a bit of tension.
That's what my doctor says.
And so in order to even strengthen your pelvic floor, we need to stretch it out first before we can strengthen it.
Okay.
Because if you're right here, we can contract it all day long.
It's like having a tight muscle and you have to stretch it before you can get it strong.
Exactly.
Okay, makes sense.
So we're not really getting it stronger. So
So
we'll probably work on more stretching and down training for the pelvic floor, helping with that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So as regards to what you were asking a minute ago, so if you think of your pelvic floor as like an A-frame house, so we have your basement right here.
Okay.
This is the first floor and your attic. So during the day, our pelvic floor really should be kind of just at that baseline, right on that first floor. We live on the first floor. We do most of our function there.
Okay.
Walking, sitting, just any of that most daily function is just sitting at that first floor. Now, when we go to squat or lift something heavy, our pelvic floor, in order to withstand the extra pressure onto the pelvic floor, it will contract a little bit, or it stays on that first floor. Really, it shouldn't be going down into the basement.
Okay.
Now, sometimes people have a lack of coordination with their pelvic floor, and so then they'll bear down, have some leakage. So potentially if you're lifting something really heavy, then you're bearing down at that point, and it could be just that breath holding causing you to bear down. That's causing the pelvic floor to drop into the basement.
Okay.
And really, when we drop into the basement, that's when our pelvic floor is relaxing. So the only time we go to the basement with our pelvic floor is really when we're going to the bathroom. Is the main time we really want our pelvic floor going to. So
that means that if I'm having problems, that means it's not going to the basement like it's supposed to.
Yes.
And
some people, and you might be here. You might be more so always living up here in the attic.
Oh, that probably in my case.
So it might be where you're not really living on that first floor. So maybe when you're going to the bathroom, you're here. You might.
So I'm trying to basically go to the bathroom, and which should be in the basement from the attic.
Right. And so you might be coming down to the first floor, occasion a little bit.
But it's not going where it's supposed to go. Okay, this is starting to make a lot more sense to me now.
So, I'll have you kind of check in, and we'll start learning and being able to pay more attention to your pelvic